Thanks to those joining me live and to those that will be joining me on archive. This is DStyleBoxing here. All right. Feel free to leave comments in the chat. Feel free to, if you're watching archive, leave comments, please, on the comment section. I want to know what you think. All right. Agree, disagree, whatever the case is. It's an open forum. Right. Thumbs up the video. Right. If you like it, thumbs up the video. It's, this Mayweather McGregor thing. Let's stop the bullshit. Like, everybody's talking about it. Okay. And I know. You're just talking about it too much. It's almost over. Less than 2 weeks, guys. Less than 2 weeks, this shit's over, right? Less than 2 weeks. We're on the 13th. The fight falls on the 26th, right? So, we got next weekend, and then that's it. The weekend after that. So, in 13 days, in less than 13 days, Mayweather Jr. and Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Conor McGregor will be fighting it out, okay, in a Marquess of Queensberry rules fight. That's boxing, right, with gloves on. Where you can only strike with your fist, right? That's it. No backhands allowed, no spinning back fist allowed, no elbows, none of that. Strictly Marquess of Queensberry rules. Look, I said this earlier, and I said this, and I'm like, you know what? I want to share this with my audience here. But first, I want to give a shout out to Ringside Reporter, okay? Podcast that's done on Joe Habib's channel, Beating the Odds with Beeb. Check it out, guys, every Sunday. You can call in even, right? I believe I should be free. I'm 99% sure I'll be able to call, but you never know, emergencies, etc. But I'm planning on calling to the show on Sunday. Okay, so much love. Go over there, subscribe, right? That's Beating the Odds with Babe. And this is what I said on the show. I say the following. Because the question is why DStyle? Why? But why? But why? This is mainly to the boxing fans, right? All the whys and this isn't even a real fight, and what are you doing talking about this fight? And but why? But why? All the whys and the how. But yeah, you're here, right? You're here. You're listening to this video. It's too late. You're already here. That's it. You're already here. Where do you think you're gonna go? Where are you going? You get over here. Right? And by the way, don't forget to thumbs up the video. It takes 2 seconds to thumbs it up. All right? Look. I am a science guy, okay? I'm not a religious guy. I'm a science guy. What does that mean? Well, it's pretty clear. Now, we all have a hypothesis here and there. A belief. We have this is the reality, and it has nothing to do with what you believe or anything, right? The reality is that there's a huge audience. There is an audience for this. We have, ladies and gentlemen, and you can call them casuals, uneducated, whatever the case might be. We have human beings running around on planet Earth that believe Conor McGregor can beat Floyd Mayweather Jr. Not that he has a shot or he has a 10% chance or, he's got a puncher's chance. No. They believe he could destroy Floyd Mayweather Jr. in a boxing match. They believe this. That's what they believe. That's their religion. That's what it is, right? They're religiously following this man. They're religiously showing up to the press conferences. They are religiously believing in him. They believe in Conor. They believe he's going to do it. They're putting big money in Vegas. They're closing the lines. The betting lines don't lie. They're closing the betting lines. They're overwhelming the polls, or they're showing up to videos like this and talking with such confidence about what Conor can do. His own trainers believe in him. Just listen to what they say. Listen to everything they say. Oh, Conor, you don't understand. In Scripture, in the Conor Bible, on UFC verse 1, chapter 7, it says that Conor McGregor was once a peasant, and he believed in himself, and thy Lord blessed him with a shot to become cage rage champion. Right? There's verses in the Bible said they thought they were fools, or they thought they were something like that, but they were fools. Right? On chapter 8, verse 6. They're just like everything. Like, oh, everybody mocked him. Like, they talk about these stories, these things that Conor did. They're talking about him like if it was David versus Goliath. Like when they tell these Aldo stories, like, oh, nobody believed in him. Absolutely no one gave him a sliver of a chance when he fought Aldo, the big dominating champion. No one gave him a shot. Nobody gave him a shot when he fought Alvarez. But we believe. Conor envisioned it, and he made it happen. This is a religion. Now the question is, will religion be able to overcome the sweet science? Because we keep hearing a religious argument. You don't understand. Conor McGregor, he believes in himself. He envisions these things. I don't know how he's going to do it, but he always proves everybody wrong. He finds a way to do it. Conor McGregor says he's going to do it, and then it happens. I mean, holy shit. If I wasn't mistaken, they're retelling the story of Jesus Christ, right? I mean, Conor, soon enough, at this rate, if he beats Floyd, they're going to be talking about he's raising dudes from the dead and shit, okay? Like that's the rate this shit's going to. This shit's getting out of hand. I'm a science guy. Well, they have a hypothesis. They believe Conor McGregor can beat Mayweather, not by boxing in a traditional sense, but by fighting within the Marquis of Queensberry rules. And he'll present different angles and different things, not in a traditional sense, but in a different sense. In a way that Floyd in boxing has never, ever, ever seen before. And it's going to catch everybody off guard, including Floyd Mayweather. He's going to knock him out. He's going to put him to rest. He's going to put him out. He's going to put him out of his misery, put him into retirement, kill boxing, prove that the sweet science is all bullshit, right? Okay, well, that's a nice hypothesis. Okay, fine. Let's put it to the fucking test then. The experiment happens on the 26th. The experiment, now, like a lot of religious people, right? They'll accept the science if it's convenient, like McGregor wins. But when he loses, they're not going to accept the science. All of a sudden, it's going to be, well, it's bullshit. It's not fair that Conor couldn't use everything else. He couldn't kick, couldn't knee, couldn't take him to the ground. It's unfair. Like, they're going to say all this bullshit. Like, just wait for it. Wait for it. If it's a real fight, like, shut up. Right? Like, who would have won in a real fight? Muhammad Ali or Joe Frazier? Does it matter? No. They had 3 boxing fights. Okay? Get the fuck out of here. I'm sure half of Floyd's opponents that he boxed in the ring could probably whoop his ass in a street fight. So what? It doesn't mean anything. All right? Look, it doesn't mean anything. Now, I don't even know that, but I'm just saying, like, if that was the case, who cares? Doesn't mean anything. Now, it brings me to this. I keep hearing this. Chael Sonnen brought it up, and people have just been bringing it up. They keep bringing up UFC 1, like it's just for some reason when it comes to this fight. And I'm like, okay, well, let me hear them out, Let me hear them out. I hear guys out, believe it or not. I don't just hear something and just jump into it. Oh, fuck those guys. I listen. It's all bullshit after my final conclusion, but I'll listen. So what are they saying? Well, tell us, D-Style. I'm about to tell you. Okay? Make sure you leave some comments in the chat, by the way. How you guys doing? I never look at the chat in the first 10 minutes of a video. It's just a technique I have. You know, I'm just saying. Got to get some points across before, because you could trail off. You could trail off. I do anyway. If I start reading comments and we start talking about other shit, I want to get my points out first. But please leave comments. Thumbs it up, by the way. Look. For some reason, of all the disciplines, they picked karate and Aikido too, but karate, right? And the thing is, they're using karate as an example. Like they're comparing it to the way boxing is now to the way karate was pre-UFC 1, right? Why? Because there was a lot of karate schools back in the day, you know? Those are a lot of karate schools back in the day, you know? I know a little bit of karate. I was in karate for about 10 years, right? So let's explore this. So what they're saying is once they saw karate guys get taken down and dominated and did, you know, it just proved that art form wasn't real. Like everything that these people that practice karate their whole life, it exposed it as a inferior art. Like it was not a real art for real fighting and this, that, and the third, right? Right. Okay. So, and you know, because Gracie Jiu-Jitsu came out on top, and you know, karate, you know, it never won an Ultimate Fighting Championship tournament, and when the Gracie would fight karate guys, it always whooped their ass, and you know, this, that, and the third. So you know, a lot of karate lost a lot of popularity. And, you know, it's even till this day that supposedly senseis tell their students to not watch the UFC, and they stay believing to themselves, and, you know, they don't change their ways, and they keep doing things the karate way. Right? All right. Here's the problem. All right? The problem is that Marquis of Queensberry. You ready for this? You guys ready? A lot of people saying this didn't do real good in their SATs. I'm telling you that right now. Okay, that's number one, right? Marquis of Queensberry. That's what we're going to call it. That's the set of rules that you fight under in a boxing match. We're not going to call it boxing because people compare the art of boxing with the sport of boxing. There's a little bit of a difference. Okay, right? Stay with me. Marquis of Queensberry is only the canvas. Okay, it's not the painter. It's the canvas. It's not the painter. It's and what you see now is an ever-growing product. It's an artwork that has been slowly but surely not only evolved but improved over time. That's what it is. Under that canvas, right? You take that canvas, you cannot really apply it to any other form of combat, right? You really can't do that. You could take the artist, and the artist can learn other forms of combat and apply their art to other forms of combat, right? But that's what it is, okay? So it's kind of like learning how to paint with a certain brush. That's like the best way I could describe boxing in the form of art. Like you're not allowed to use any other type of brush, only this type of brush. And you could only paint a certain way. Certain ways of painting are illegal, right? So there you go. Whereas MMA is a form of artwork where you can use all types of brushes, and you have less restrictions on how you can apply that art. It doesn't make one art better than the other. Okay, it just gives you more freedom on how to apply that art. Of course, if you take karate, which is one type of art, and it's with a certain brush, and you apply it to an MMA canvas, of course, he's at a severe disadvantage if he's only using one certain type of brush. You see, the difference between the situation karate was in and boxing was in is the following, okay? Karate presented itself as an ultimate form of self-defense, okay? Karate sold itself as a martial art that can teach you how to defend yourself. That was karate's main thing. Okay, of course, there's other things, that karate could teach you discipline, other things like that. But for the most part, it was to train you to be a fighting machine. That's what karate was built for. Okay, and it was exposed in the UFC as a form that's not a supreme form of fighting, right? Boxing right now is not claiming to be a supreme form of fighting in the streets. Okay. I'm not saying that someone can't learn boxing and learn how to defend themselves with it. Of course you can. Okay. But that's not the primary reason why boxing exists, right? Boxing is a worldwide sport. Participants want to participate in the ring for prize money, right? That's why boxing exists. So when you're walking into a boxing ring, when you come to the boxing ring, the one at a disadvantage is not boxing. It's the one coming from outside of boxing because they're not used to those rules. They're not used to those restrictions. They're not used to finding a way to make that artwork with just that one certain type of brush. They're used to have the freedom of using other tools to paint that bird and paint that background and paint that that tree and whatever the hell you're painting. They're not they don't know how to do it with that one brush. They don't quite understand that. That's what's happening here. So the argument is, well, look, it is true that, and I know this because all they ever did in karate, okay, here's the difference between karate and what they were selling and boxing and what boxing sells. Here's the difference. In karate, all right, parents would pay a lot of money every month. Sometimes, depending on the karate school, up to $80 a month, $50 a month, whatever it is, to take your kid a couple days a week to karate class, okay, to learn how to be a fighter, to defend yourself and all this shit, okay. And every single time they'll always have like these presentations, like they would present shit to the people that were there, like where you have a dude fighting the sensei, and it's all like orchestrated. Like he throws a punch, the sensei blocks it, and he blocks the next one, and then he trips him, and he kind of like how he would have punched him if he had him in the ground, and that's great and all, but that's not how a real fight works. Okay, boxing, what boxing sells to people is whether you buy a ticket to go see a fight, whether you buy a pay-per-view, right? And people go and they watch these fights. They go in and watch these fights. What you're buying, a fist fight is what you're buying. And in boxing, sure, when you train, you shadow box and that, but I'll tell you right now, a boxing spar match is far more physical than most karate tournaments, which are very point-based and just not a way to really improve. It's not a way to really simulate a real fight. It's nowhere near that, especially when that's what you're trying to sell to people. Boxing, when you spar, you're very closely simulating a boxing match. every week, and you can bet on this weekend and every weekend for the last 30 years, I could guarantee you there was a boxing match somewhere in the world. Every weekend for the last 30 years, somewhere in the world there was a boxing match. Boxing has been experimented on over and over and over and over and over again. They have done studies on who hits harder. Boxers usually always. And sometimes it depends on what boxer you pick, what kung fu guy you pick, what MMA guy you pick, but usually always boxers hit harder. Okay? We will test our punches against any other form of fighting. Any other form. Now there's two ways we know that the form of punching in boxing is superior to any other form of combat. There's many ways we know that, okay? Because in kickboxing, they didn't pick up the Wing Chun way of using your hands. They picked up boxing's way, okay? In UFC, they use boxing techniques for their fist on the stand-up, right? And the same with kickboxing. They use boxing techniques when it comes to their fist. And where did they get that from? From boxing coaches, from the boxing world. And if somebody thinks that they have a superior way of using their fist from a sport where literally it's about using your fist, then by all means, let's see it then. Okay? Then let's see it then. Not a simulation, not a presentation. But at the end of the day, like, here's the reality. Marquess of Queensberry rules, that's the sport of boxing, is a form of combat under certain rules where you only are allowed to use your fist to strike. That's what it is. That's what it is, right? So it's already that. So you're telling me for 100 years, guys have been fighting under those rules, under those guidelines, in fights where they're breaking each other's orbital bones, killing each other. There's deaths in boxing every year. Jaws getting broken. Careers ending. Guys have, suffered from pugilistic dementia. All in the process of this ever-going experiment that is boxing. It is the most tried form of combat today besides wrestling. Wrestling and boxing, they're the most tried for the longest period of time. For the longest period. See, right now, in order to change the game in boxing, in order to improve something in the method that people, the techniques that they use, first of all, it varies on the type of fighter, but mostly it's going to be a very small improvement, because whenever you start something, improvements, are very obvious at first, and then slowly improvements begin to decrease over time. All right, they begin to decrease. The rate in which you improve something decreases. So it's almost hard to tell. So MMA went from, it started in 96, right? And the improvements that they made from 93, from 93 to, let's say 99, is unbelievable. That was a huge leap in improvement. And the improvements they made from 99 to, let's say, 2006, it was another leap in improvement. I mean, that was a big improvement. The improvements from 2006 to 2000, let's say 12, it was another leap of improvement. You started seeing better athletes in the UFC, using better techniques. Their boxing was improving. Their kickboxing was improving. Everything overall was improving. But now you're still seeing You know, a lot of big changes in MMA, but not as much. All of a sudden, you know, champions couldn't last before. Now champions are lasting a couple of years. Now they're having several, you know, title defenses, you know, and you're starting to see more technical fights. You know, before, I mean, these dudes would have like fucking. Did you see their like the way like? I mean, just compare Matt Hughes, right, and his boxing ability, and compare that to like a Conor McGregor, right? I mean, leaps and bounds. I mean, it's a whole nother stratosphere, right? Compare, you know, some of these dudes' kicks to like a guy like a John Jones. I mean, it's leaps and bounds of improvement. But not only that, you're starting to see more technical. It's starting to become its own science. It's starting to become more refined. Okay, that's what's happening with MMA right now. And as time progresses, the improvements you see in MMA are going to be improving ever so slightly. You're going to start seeing a shorter evolution, if that's what you want to call it, right? You're going to start seeing the sport improve in little bits and pieces as the years progress. Because they're starting to figure, like every year, it's like they're learning more and more what works and what doesn't. This works, this doesn't. Let's try this again. It doesn't work. Okay, let's rewind. Okay, let's try. They are experimenting with it more and more. Now, take boxing. Boxing's been doing that, right, for over 100 years. So I get why some MMA. It's no coincidence that it's MMA analysts that are saying things like, well, you got to be able to not get stuck in your ways and, you know, be able to think outside the box to catch somebody off guard and beat them, right? Yeah, maybe that works in MMA now. Maybe it worked more in MMA 6 years ago, right? Because there was more unknowns as far as what worked and what didn't work. There was more experimentation going on. Because, you know, even till this day, guys are like, you know, I mean, if we go back to the example of karate, I mean, Machito is very successful using his karate style, right? And then people figured it out, and you know, it's an ever growing process. It's an ever growing process. There is a level of improvement that is, first of all, it's slowly starting to decline, right? It's slowly starting to decline. But what they don't realize is that the things that they're discovering that you could do with your fist, right? We've known that in boxing, like we've known that since like the late 1800s. Like, you know, that's as far back as that can go. You know, it's like, oh, like that short left that Connor threw on the looping, just huge looping right that Aldo threw. Well, they've known that in boxing for like the longest time. It seems obvious, you know, but that's just the truth, right? That you don't have to necessarily throw a punch with unbelievable force. If a guy comes in and he gives you the force, all you got to do is connect, and it could be a short shot, and you can knock him out. It doesn't take a lot of force with your fist to knock a guy out. It just depends how you connect and what force there is in total. If he gives you the force, you can knock him out. Now, there's a reason they teach guys, like, you know, there's a reason boxers at high levels don't jump in the air with a chin exposed like that. Okay? Like it's not like we don't need to keep having guys try it over and over again to find out that it doesn't work. Okay, we just know it doesn't work. Okay, we just know it means you're gonna get knocked the fuck out. We just know that. We just happen to know, right? Capiche? All right, let's check this out. Let's open up the chat. Gonna do another video. do another video in a little bit. I don't want to talk too much about this whole argument that people are making too much. I just don't want to do it. Like, it's I don't have an interest in that. Okay, but I did want to talk. Obviously, I did want to talk about it, but not too much. Should say, "What's up, man? I just want to let you know, not all MMA fans are pro Conor. A lot of people think he is overrated within MMA." It's funny you mention that because I still to this day wonder, like, if Shad Mendes, didn't go for that because he went like for a choke or whatever. Excuse that, I don't know the term. And McGregor escaped. Like, I wonder if he just kept pounding on him, what would have happened. But I hear you. The Sweet Science is roadwork boxing trends. I personally think he is damaging the integrity of MMA by not defending a single belt ever and going for another and jumping contenders to get big fights. Well, that's another thing. I mean, Conor McGregor, he beat Aldo and then he jumped ship. And a lot of, I don't know how MMA fans feel about this, but they're already calling Conor the best featherweight of all time, in UFC history. Like, I mean, okay, like, he never even defended the title, dude. Like, I'm just saying, especially in a sport like MMA where, it's, fight those different styles and we'll see how you do, Roadwork boxing. Boxing always makes you pay, and Conor will pay. Wow. Because I appreciate boxing for the great sport it is, and I don't look down on it like other MMA fans. This trend. Oh, that's good. Roadwork boxing. Floyd will redefine the term cash out. Man, Floyd's laughing all the way to the damn bank. Raslov 222. Gene Hackney was kicking ass in early UFC with Kempo Karate. Hey, is that the dude that was like? I was kind of impressed. I think that's the first time I ever saw a sprawl in UFC. He successfully sprawled one time against Hoist Gracie. Like, he did it one time, and then after that Hoist took him down. But I wonder though, because Hackney didn't he have like a gi on or some shit like that, or something on, like a shirt? And if Hoist didn't have the gi, who fucking knows? Who fucking knows? I also want to remind people, Chuck Norris, who I'll admit up front, Chuck Norris is one of my heroes, man. I don't agree with Chuck Norris politically. I'm just letting that know right now. But just the figure of Chuck Norris when I was growing up, and a lot of people don't know this, but Chuck Norris, he was a karate guy, obviously, but he actually studied with the Gracies. He actually learned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He actually studied judo, and he did it when he got his ass whooped. When he realized, like, holy shit, this ground thing's like for real. So Chuck Norris was a mixed martial artist before there was even mixed martial arts. I'm just putting that out there, right? Okay, roadwork boxing. I think Conor should give Jose Aldo the rematch. Can't even make that weight anymore, Conor. Can he even make 145? The truth, you keep putting your foot on their neck, DStyle. The truth says, shout out to you, bro. DStyleBoxing, Tool 6. What's up, bro? Floyd would never do that shit in MMA, though. I'm not sure. When you say this shit, I'm not sure what you're referring to. But if you mean he'll never go to MMA, I agree. The truth, watch the Rigo video. Can't wait for it to happen. That was a DBC. I hope that happens too, and that's actually a video I want to do, by the way. Someone gave me a shout out. What's up to Marlanius76? Roadwork Boxing says, protect yourself at all times. Applies to all aspects of boxing. Okay, Black Independent Thinker says, will you do a video on Charlottesville? I probably will. I'm waiting for more facts to come out. I kind of know what's up with that, man. I'm getting exhausted of telling people the truth out there, man. There's a lot of racism in this country, but we got into a point where, and again, I don't want to trail off about this in this video, but we just reached a point where, you see, before, like, people would just be like, either they were racist or they were racist, covertly. But now it's like they want to be racist, and and they do the cover up with, I'm not politically correct, but they say racist shit. And when you call them a racist, then they pull the whole, oh, don't call me a racist, or you lost the argument because you call me a racist. Like, if you just call someone for what they are, then that's what they are, man. Like, it's like, what do you want me to do? But it's self-explanatory what's happened in Charlottesville. I mean, all I'm going to say is this, and then I'll move on. Yeah, where were the cops in riot gear and all that? Well, where was all that? Where was where was Fox News saying, oh, look at all these animals, and why weren't they calling them animals and shit like that? They're running over people with a fucking vehicle and shit, and people getting injured and going to the hospital. Okay, I saw no riot gear. I didn't. That dude ran over somebody. Okay, and that dude got taken alive, man. He got taken alive. I remember, like, they were justifying a killing of a dude, trying to get away in a vehicle. Like, get the fuck out of here. But anyway, I'm moving on. AJ10, bringing up MMA is irrelevant in the August 26th fight. Yeah, it is, right? It's T.Y. Jones Black, independent thinker. I'm rooting for Conor, but unrealistic. Floyd is a huge favorite and is very much likely to win. I agree. DBC, I'm pumped up for Regal fight, and that was to the truth. That's for those that know that they're negotiating, allegedly negotiating Rigondeaux versus Lomachenko right now. That's what they're doing. Karate has a UFC champion. Yeah, it's had several UFC. That's another thing. Like, that's honestly, that's another thing. Like, there's been dudes with karate that have been successful in MMA. Like, it's just that's like they're making it seem like karate just died. Like in 1993 when UFC like came along. Like. All right, Tyron Woodley and Tony Ferguson would whoop Conor's ass. Well, Tyron Woodley is too big for Conor, bro. Tony Ferguson, yeah, it's a good fight. Although I do admire Conor's willingness to take challenges. I just think, I don't know, man. I want to see Conor against Dos Anjos. I want to see Conor. There's some other fighters there, man. There's some good fights from there. That one Russian guy. What's that Russian dude's name? I forgot his name. It sounds like Joe Habib. Like, I think he's Joe Habib's brother or something. Shout out to that guy, man. I forgot his name, but I want to see him against that Russian cat. I always felt like he would beat Conor. Honestly, I always felt that way. I was like, oh man, like it's. And when Dana White says, "Oh yeah," he wants to go fight him in Russia. Like, I don't even believe that shit. Okay. Khabib. Oh, there you go. Conor versus Khabib. I don't know. I always thought that Khabib would take him down and maul him, man. I honestly believe that. And he's a strong dude too. Like, I don't know if Conor would be able to prevent him from taking him down. I just don't know. Like, every time Conor doesn't look 100%, like when he doesn't have a dominating performance, have you guys noticed? Like, there's always something wrong. Like, he had an injury in training. Like, oh, because he had an injury. Oh, he wasn't 100%. He had an injured hand, or, oh, he had a torn ACL. Like, there's always something. Like, there's always something. And look, I don't care what anybody says. Okay, like George Foreman said once, man, it's rare that a fighter goes 100% into a fight. That's rare, right? Like, you're going with something. When you're training and you want to improve your craft, you're gonna have some injuries. Like, come on. There's always an excuse when this dude doesn't have a dominating performance. There's always an excuse. Yeah, Khabib has a suspect chin. Well, I mean, the fights I saw, I didn't get him get caught, so I don't know. Maybe he does, but it was just my impression when I saw it. I got a question sent to me on my inbox. And the question was, DStyle, be honest. What will you do if Mayweather gets KFO, or knocked the fuck out? LOL, you put. Exclamation point. Look, I'm going to keep it 100. Okay, let's stop the bullshit. If Conor McGregor knocks out Mayweather, I'm going to be like, with my mouth open, right? I'm going to be like, what the fuck? What the fuck did I just see? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be shocked. Not surprised. See, shocked is an overused word. Most of the time when people say shocked, they mean surprised. Okay? It surprised them. No, this would shock me. I would be in complete shock if that were to happen. It would take me a moment to process it. All right? Is that what you want to hear? I mean, it's not going to happen, but if you're asking me what would I do, well, there you go. Now, the question is, if I flip the question, what are you guys going to do? When Conor gets his ass whooped, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to start saying that Floyd needs to go at MMA or what? Like, what are you guys going to do? You know, because look, I don't think any boxing fan has any problem just saying Floyd will get his ass whooped in the octagon. Like you know, like at least not one with a common sense. You know, but you have a puncher's chance. Yeah, I guess. But yeah, we keep it real. He'll get his ass whooped, right? He's too old at this point to learn other MMA stuff, you know. But I'm just keeping it real. But at the end of the day, this is a boxing match. That's what this is. You guys genuinely believe Conor McGregor could win this fight. You guys are saying that. I'm not the one saying Floyd could win in a UFC fight. You guys are saying Conor could win a boxing fight. So that's why we're experimenting this. We got MMA analysts over there saying, oh, this is going to be like when karate was exposed and UFC won. Or like, you know, it's dumb shit like that. Shout out to the Karate Kid movie, by the way. I love that movie when I was a kid. Casuals call it Conor the TBE. Well, there's a lot of casuals out there. Colton says, if Conor knocks out Floyd, that would beat Douglas Tyson ×2. LOL, it would. Of course that would be shocking. Of course I would be like, what the fuck just happened? Of course I would have to come on here and eat my words, okay? Like, I'm not going to disappear, guys. It's like, a lot of people are like, I will never hear from you ever again if Conor wins. Ha ha ha. Like, yeah, right. It's all for, like, a lot of those dudes, man, like, they're going to be the ones that disappear. You kidding me? I ain't going nowhere. I'll eat my crow, and guess what? My life moves on. My life doesn't revolve around this shit. Like, you know, like, I'll move on. Right? I'll watch the fight. I'll be shocked. I'll be, what the fuck? I'll come on here, but holy shit, I was wrong. It's true, guys. You know, it's you know, we have reinvented the wheel. All right? We've been doing it wrong for 100 years. This is the new way we have to box. Okay? You got to do it this way now. So stop doing it the way you're doing it. Tell those boxing coaches to stop. Okay? We shouldn't have boxing schools. Just teach them MMA and they'll become better boxers. You know, that's literally what you know, that shit's insane. If Conor beat Floyd, nothing is normal in the world anymore, right? Like, we would have to question everything. Like, I would be like, maybe the world is flat. Maybe those flat earthers are onto something. You know, I think the world I'm in is like, there's something topsy-turvy about it. AJ10, those YouTubers with 100K plus followers will have to delete their videos on Conor. Well, look, man. And look, I'm going to say this, and I don't, by the way, I'm not supposed to tell you guys this, you know, so I'm not going to tell you, all right? So I'm not supposed to tell you that if you click on, I'm not supposed to tell you to click on ads, okay? Wink, wink. I'm not supposed to tell you that. But I see why, right? Right? When I look at something, I'm not allowed to talk about it. I'm not allowed to talk about AdSense. but I see why people are talking about this fight. I'm just keeping it real. Okay, but if I wanted to, just flat out just sell out, I could be a fucking sellout. Okay, come on here and make arguments onto how Conor's gonna win, and you know, I would have Conor fans here in droves because that's what they want to hear, right? And there's some guys, man, that are making money off this shit. Like, you know how many people are making money off of 49-1 t-shirts? Like, there's people out there selling that shit. You know, like, they're making money off of this shit. You know, like, there's websites that dedicate themselves to, like, strictly political issues, and alt-right websites, and they're all over this fight. Like, they're all over it. You know, they're all like the red pill philosophy over there, whatever the fucker's name is. Like, you know, they're just talking about this fight nonstop. People that know nothing about combat sports are just talking about this, trying to make money off of it, telling people that Conor could win, telling people, oh, like, if Donald Trump won an election, then I mean, anything is possible, right? Just shit like that. I mean, it's just insane. You know, that's all I could say. All right. A lot of things don't make sense about this fight, but there is a huge interest on it, and people really want, like, I remember when Berto came out and said, all he said was that Conor has a shot. That's all Berto said. Oh yeah, I give him a shot. That's all. He didn't say he was going to win. He just said he gives him a shot. I saw so much activity about that on social media. The people praising Berto. All of a sudden, all these MMA fans. Oh yeah, I always liked Berto, and you know, like all these McGregor fans. Like, oh yeah, but Berto is one of those real warriors in boxing. He's not boring like the other boxers, and you know, I always liked Berto. Like, you know what? I think Berto really proved that Mayweather's over the hill in his last fight. And, you know, he's real friends with Conor, and just all this praise for Berto just because he said McGregor has a shot. You know. Joe Cortez came out to say McGregor has a shot. Oh, yeah, and Cortez, one of the best refs of all time. I'm not even a boxing fan, but when Joe Cortez ref the fight, I watched. And, you know, all this stupid shit. Like, what are you guys talking about? If I came on here as a boxing dude, first of all, anyone who's been subscribed to me for more than a month, okay, wouldn't know I'm fucking trolling. Okay, you guys would be like, what the fuck? You don't believe this shit. Like, oh, you guys aren't going to believe it, but honestly, I've been watching film, guys, and I'm telling you, I'm a boxing fan, but, man, I'm scared for Floyd, man. I mean, the left hand of Conor, I mean, if you see the way he hit Aldo, I mean, Aldo just went down, bro. I mean, he hit him with such force. I mean, the truth is that if Conor McGregor just hits you one time at any moment of the fight, I mean, he will just crush Mayweather. I mean, I've been studying the anatomy, and I did some dimensions on Mayweather's head, and I'm telling you guys, the head's not big enough to take Conor McGregor's punch. You know, Conor McGregor, he's just like he's like a Sonny Liston, man. He just punched it like a fucking beast. And like, if I did some bullshit like that, right, I would have so many dudes come on here, just all this. Obviously, there'll be boxing fans saying, this motherfucker's bullshitting. I would lose respect from people that are subscribed to me, okay, and have been longtime followers of my fucking channel. Okay, I would lose their respect, but I would make a lot of money on here. I'm just keeping it real. I would make a lot of money if I just came on here and fed people all this bullshit, right? Because that's what a lot of people are doing. Now, when I say a lot, I'm not saying that I would make a living off of it. Don't get me wrong, okay? But, you know, an extra 100 or 2 a month. Like, I'm keeping it real. If all I did was come out here and say Conor McGregor has a shot, and you guys don't understand, I've been watching boxing my whole life, and I'm telling you, I mean, Conor McGregor reminds me of those old school boxers, man, with that type of power that even when they miss, they hurt you. And that's the type of power McGregor has. Like, you know, I could just come on here and spew all this bullshit, right? But then what would happen? Then what would I gain out of that? August 26th, I would look like a fucking idiot, right? I would look like a fucking idiot. I'd be a fucking sellout, you know. But for whatever reason, there's a lot of people out there that feel perfectly fine doing it. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but they feel completely fine doing this shit, and they do it on national TV too. Like Skip Bayless does his shit on national TV with no shame. With no shame. By the way, Skip Bayless is pissing off both MMA and boxing fans talking about this fight. Now, when Skip Bayless talks UFC, man, like, I remember earlier I saw a podcast, I forgot the name, but of an MMA podcast, they heard Skip Bayless describe what happened in the Nate Diaz versus McGregor fight, and they were just like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing, and they just went in on Skip Bayless. You know, and when Skip Bayless, you know, talks boxing, he just sounds fucking ridiculous. He sounds like a blithering idiot. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. The guy does not know what he's talking about. But he'll go and he'll say whatever he needs to say, right? But, you know, obviously I'm not on Fox Sports 1. I never will be, okay? I mean, you know, it's not something I'll do. But one thing I'll always do this. I'm always going to tell people what I'm really thinking. I'm always going to tell people, you know, what I really think. You know, because, you know, you're not always, you know, gonna swing and hit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not always gonna get everything right. You're not. But, you know, I'm using a metaphor here, but we all have a batting average. You know, and how good your batting average is when you analyze boxing and predict boxing, in my opinion, it goes a long way, right? And if you're always erratic and you're not consistent, you know, if you make one point about this fighter, but you make a different point about another fighter, you know, people catch on to that, man. People catch on to that. And I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I've never contradicted myself in history. We're all human. We could all contradict ourselves. But it's a matter of are you doing it willingly? You know, that's what it comes down to, right? So I'm not going to come on here, man. I'm not going to sell out for a couple $100 from here to the 26th, you know, just you know, to tell everybody that Conor McGregor's going to win, you know, and then be like those Pactard channels that have to delete their channel once Mark has knocked them out. You know, like that's just not what I'm going to do. These people generally believe that Conor possesses hidden powers. I promise you, I'm not joking, literally. Yeah, man, that was my point at the very beginning. You know, it's almost like a religion to them, and I'm obviously, I kind of am, but I'm kind of not. I'm using it in a metaphor here, but and I'm only doing that because they call boxing the sweet science. You know, but it's almost like they're religiously believing in this guy, and they're using religion to explain how Conor is going to win this fight. Whereas I want to talk sweet science. I want you to explain to me scientifically how he's going to do it. You know, and you know, then fuck it. We'll get the experiment done on the 26th, right? But I believe you. Sugar Ray Robinson lost to 18-0 Memo Ayan. All right. AJ10, I want to see a video live stream of DStyle watching the fight with Conor fans. I would donate money to see that. Well, I'm planning something like that. The only problem I have is I'm not big on editing videos and stuff like that, so it's kind of hard. But I do want to, like, I want to watch this fight at a bar, and I want to just kind of the atmosphere around the bar before round one when they're announcing the fighters, the atmosphere at the bar after round one, after round two, and just see everything dying down, you know. Michael James London, conspiracy, LOL. If Conor wins, Showtime get another event to sell millions or billions. If he loses and Mayweather retires, Showtime has no superstar. Conspiracy. All right, Colton. Skate Beta said Nate Diaz beat Conor with sumo wrestling, laughing my ass off. What the fuck is that dude talking about? Now, is it just me? Is it just me, or every time they talk about Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor, like Nate Diaz just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger? You know, first he outweighed him by 15 pounds, and now they're talking about, 25 pounds, 30 pounds. Oh, he was almost 200 pounds. You know, now you got Skip Bayless saying he was a sumo wrestler. Like, it's just stupid, man. Hawker Mustang, man. Like, you're this close, bro. Like, seriously. Like, nobody's even talking about that shit, bro. Okay, Colton. I already read that comment. Skip is like 0-7 in Floyd fights, right? Michael James London, why did the Billionaire Club waste 45 minutes of their life to watch Conor spar if it wasn't good? He does have belief. It's a Twitch Sciences movement and power with X. AJ10, Nate Diaz is the size of Lesnar, according to Conor fans, right? He's getting bigger and bigger. Like, the legend is just getting bigger and bigger. Like, that's their, David versus Goliath story. I mean, was Nate Diaz any bigger than Conor than Conor was against those featherweights he fought? Was there really any difference between, if you guys get what I'm saying? Like, Conor was a lot bigger than most of the guys he beat in the UFC. So this idea that, I'm just saying. 10 feet, 350, what? He's 6 foot, 190. Well, all I know is that the reason, like, people just leave out all the facts here. Nate Diaz is fighting at 155, where Conor's a champion right now, right? That's where Nate Diaz was fighting. The reason the fight was at 170 is because I believe it was Dos Anjos, right? Or somebody got hurt. Somebody got hurt, and they had like 2-3 weeks left before the fight, and Nate Diaz stepped in. Well, Nate Diaz didn't have time to have a full camp, right? He didn't have time for a full camp, so they just agreed to make the fight at 170, right? So he could have enough time to make that a weight. That's why it happened at that weight. I'm just saying. Jay Dizzy 4, another thing about Nate is that he's not exactly difficult to figure out. He has numerous losses. Yeah, man, he does. I mean, I'll give Conor this, man. He was slapping him around those first few rounds. He was. Okay? But he was using the kicks to set up most of those punches, from what I noticed. That was throwing Nate Diaz's timing off when they were boxing, because he was setting it up with kicks. It was throwing Nate Diaz off, right? But especially in the second fight, he used it more. I believe he hurt his foot too. I believe Conor McGregor hurt his foot, didn't he? I think he did. I forgot. It's been a while, but fine. He outboxed Nate Diaz. Ooh, yeah, he was using his kicks, which is fine. It's within the rules. I don't have a problem with that. But we have to acknowledge that Conor McGregor uses kicks as well to set up a lot of his punches, which he will not be able to do on the 26th. You said kicks suck? Well, there you go. Anyways, guys, Colton said MMA guys cut a lot of weight in my friend. Now, I have there's some dudes that watch MMA here. I have a very serious question. And I'm asking this, I promise I'm not being a smart ass or anything like that. It's just very different to the way they do it in boxing. So bear with me. And I only thought about it because what Colton just said. So honest question, before I end this video, honest question. Why is it, like, it's just, and I'm going to give you some examples, okay? Rashad Evans, Ultimate Fighter, heavyweight. Then he went to light heavyweight, and now he's at middleweight. You know, Maya, he was at middleweight, and then he moved down. What was the name of that former lightweight champion? He lost to Dosan. I forgot the guy's name. He beat Gilbert Melendez, and he had a little bit of a run there. But he moved down in weight. You guys get what I mean. Machida moved down in weight. BJ Penn moved down in weight. There's a lot of moving, people competing at a weight class, and then they move down in weight. It's just weird. I'm not used to that. I'm used to guys starting at a certain weight, and then they move up in weight as their career progresses. Like De La Hoya started at 130, then he worked all the way up till he finished his career, right? Not saying guys never jump back down, but like in De La Hoya's case, right? He went all the way to 160 for about 2 fights, and he went back down to 154. Then he tried one more time to go 147. But look at Floyd Mayweather, right? For the most part, guys move up in weight. Okay, not saying they never go back down for a fight or two or for a money fight, but for the most part, they move up. They progress upward. Andre Ward, 168, is at 175. There's talks about him maybe going to cruiserweight, right? When guys lose, they either stay in the same weight or sometimes they move up. It just seems like in MMA, like when a guy loses or has a string of losses, he moves down in weight. It's like a weird. It's just very weird to me. And maybe there's something I don't get. Maybe there's something I don't understand. But it happens a lot. Okay, like Frankie Edgar was the reigning lightweight champion. Then he moved down in weight. Right? There's some other guys. Pulver moved down in weight, and the California kid, I forgot his name, he moved down in weight, and just a lot of dudes just moving down in weight. I guess I don't get it. What am I missing? Why does that happen a lot in the UFC and in MMA in general? Anthony Pettis, that's the guy, yes. Right, they move down to try and boost a size advantage or fight people that are more their size. Yeah, but they do that in boxing too. Isn't it common knowledge that you should be fighting at the weight where, as long as you can make it, as long as you're primed on fight night, boxers try to do that too. You try to make a weight, and if you can get a size advantage, especially with day before weigh-in, then you do it, right? But what you don't see in boxing is a guy start his career at 160 and then go down to 154 and then go down to 147 when his career is over. You just don't see that. It's the other way around. Hopkins started at 175, but that was for his first or second fight. He didn't have a whole career at 175. When you fight means you have to fight 155, right? Look, you guys keep giving me all these exceptions. Oh, one fighter did this. Look, I'm talking. You guys know what I mean. It's overall, right? You see a lot of champions and have a whole career at one weight and then they move down. It's an observation I made, and I get it that they're moving down to either have a size advantage or maybe fight something, or get, why are they getting back down to fight guys their size in the first place? Why weren't they doing that to begin with? I guess it doesn't make sense to me. Somebody said they don't make enough money to have full camps where they can focus on weight. Well, is that true, or is that a theory? I don't know, man. It's just something I've noticed, man. I don't know if maybe they're still kind of learning the body in MMA, you know, and how much you can weight cut, and maybe they're just kind of getting the science of that sorted out. And while they were sorting it out, maybe some dudes are fighting in divisions they shouldn't have been in or something. I mean, that's a guess of mine. I'm not saying that's the truth, but it's putting it out there. It says, I'm just guessing, but I'd say it's because MMA was a lot easier to fight bigger opponents back then. Wrestlers couldn't box. Jiu-jitsu was a great equalizer. All right. I respect guys who do move up in weight. The signers moved up to 170 after losing. My man Ferguson. Think Kelvin Gastelum. He moved up from 170 to 185. That's gangsta. I'd like to see more of that. Shin said, they go for speed, down for size, he said. It's going to happen less and less as everything starts balancing out more and more. Yeah, I think I have a feeling we're going to start seeing it less and less. It's just happening a lot. Like, it's just like I'll watch the UFC again. I'll be like, wait a minute, wasn't that guy fighting like 2 weight classes above like a couple years ago? Like, it's just one of those things, man. And they're like, at a later age too. You know, it's weird. Somebody asking for live streams for the fight, and I don't know anything about that, man. So many people are going to try to live stream it that I don't even think any live streams can be reliable. Anyways, guys, any final questions before I wrap this up? Anything more exciting happened in boxing last 10? Well, if you ask me, yes. You know, I mean, if you ask a casual fan, they'll probably say no, but, you know. This is not the most, you know, like this boxing fights I've been looking forward to more than this one. This is more of the way the people are talking about it more than anything. Any final questions, guys, before I wrap it up? Somebody just put, watch AC or suffer glitches due to overwhelming streams. Yeah, man, it's like you're gonna be like in like round 2, and then like it's gonna go out and shit, and then you're gonna like it's gonna come back in round 4 and the fight's over. Like, anyways, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up. I am tired. I've had a long weekend, and shout out to Kodo. Kato, the YouTube guy, or Kodo, the fighter. All right. Anyway, this is DStyleBoxing, guys, and I'm out of here.